Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Andrew Kirchhoff, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be conducting a live mock draft on draft.com. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's get right into it, shall we? All right, let's move this off right here. All right. So we're waiting for a couple people to join the lobby. As of right now, it's going to be a 12-team half PPR. And I don't know, depending on what pick we are, I'll decide a strategy then. But before we get into that, and while we're waiting for other people to join the said lobby, I want to thank all of you who have continued to support the channel, whether that's subscribing, liking videos, commenting down below, and especially those of you who have joined the Patreon. If you guys haven't already heard, because I've been mentioning it all week long, I've recently launched my Patreon. And to kind of give you an idea on what a Patreon is, for support from you guys, monetary support from you guys, you will be able to access more content that you can't access here on the YouTube. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, from here on out on this YouTube channel, I'm not going to be answering fantasy football related questions, as in start or sits, because of the fact that last season, for the entirety of the year, that whole slog, I was answering thousands of questions a week in the YouTube comment section, and that would absorb so much time. On Saturdays, like I've mentioned before, I would spend up to 8 hours literally answering questions. So that kind of stuff. So if you want your questions answered for this coming season, my Patreon is where to go. On top of that, I'm offering my 2019 Fantasy Football Draft Kit, 130 player profiles. If you go check out my Patreon video that's on the channel right now, go to the comment section. A bunch of people in there are already patron supporters, and you can just look at their comments. They're raving about it. They're excited about it. It's a steal. For only $5, a 150-page draft kit, you got to be kidding me, right? I'm giving it out for free practically. So go take advantage of that. On top of it, the last biggest thing that is being offered, besides live streams and extra video content, you can play in a fantasy league with me this coming season, all the way to week 16, fantasy championship. So to be honest, take the opportunity to go ahead and do that. I appreciate all the support. And if you haven't checked out that video, the Patreon video, go check it out for more information. Okay, sitting here, I have the 9th pick. I like that because the last couple times I've been on this website, I've had to draft from like the number 3 and 4 spot, and that's just too easy because you just automatically picks, one of the top 4 backs. Okay, so looking at what I'm going to be doing at the number 9 spot, if in fact one of the top 2 wide receivers, Hopkins or Adams, come to me, I'm probably going to go with my zero RB strategy and just go on from there. If you haven't checked out the zero RB strategy video, go check that out. Kind of gives you the lay of the land on how to approach that and in what specific scenarios you want to take advantage of that specifically. It's when you can lock down one of the 2 best wide receivers when they're the best available player, and then you can go on from there. All right, let's see how long this is going to take here. So when you start off with a wide receiver in the first round, typically I understand that in a 1 quarterback league, it's okay not to worry about taking a running back second. But in this specific case, if in fact like a Joe Mixon is to fall to me at that second pick, who's within my top 10 rankings as of right now at the running back position, I'd be extremely happy at that. Let's see how far Zeke falls because of the information. It is August 6th, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't seen my Zeke video, listen to me. Just go watch all my videos. I've posted 5 days in a row. This is going to be number 6. I'm bringing out content every day. I'm going to try to literally post a video every day until the end of the year. That's my goal. And with your support, oh, there goes Hop. Ooh, in the 5th pick. Interesting. Okay, Zeke is really going to fall. Never mind. Interesting. Just when you think, Andrew, just when you think. All right, let's see here. What did this say? Good. All right, Lev Bell. Interesting. And there goes the top 2 wide receivers. So at this specific juncture, I'm looking at the landscape, at the positions, and to be honest, I'm really not going to actually go 0 wide receiver at this point because that's really not going to be the best possible thing for me. So I'm probably going to take Todd Gurley here. A lot of people are down on Todd Gurley. I am probably one of the biggest supporters of Todd Gurley. He's looked great at camp. I've watched the film of it at Irvine. He's in the Chargers versus Rams scrimmage. He got a good amount of reps in there, right? He's going. It was full contact. There's no slowing down here. So I don't mind taking Todd Gurley at the 9 spot at this point. The guy that's led the league in fantasy points for the last 2 seasons, a guy that's scored over 40 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons. I'm not really concerned about the knee injury taking away too much value from his stock. So coming around for the second pick, again, if we can lock down another running back here, then Andrew's going to skip this whole wide receiver group and come back and start snagging the lower end wide receiver twos and just reap the rewards of that. Interesting enough that the likes of Travis Kelce is still coming off the board in the first round. I understand. Some people really just don't want to be left with a tight end that's not going to score. He was just as good as a top 8 wide receiver last year in half-point PPR scoring formats. But I think taking him in the first round as of right now, just a little too expensive for my taste. Starting the second round, okay, not bad. Michael Thomas coming off the board. Not bad at all. Let's see here. Okay, so probably when it comes back, if Nick Chubb is available, Dalvin Cook's available, I am 100, or Joe Mixon, so be it. Probably I'm getting one of the 3. If not, I really do like Juju and Odell this coming season. So both, there's Odell. Okay, so likelihood is a running back of my liking is going to fall into my lap. I'm hoping it's going to be, Joe Mixon, and so it is. So I'm going to take Joe Mixon here. Lock down 2 RBs. The reason why I've locked down 2 RBs is because I'm pretty confident in the depth of the wide receiver position as of right now. Being as this is only a half PPR scoring format, I'm not too concerned about grabbing one of these top receivers when I can end up with a T.Y. Hilton. Let me go ahead and clip this out. T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs, Chris Godwin's of the world. Why is Robert Woods all the way down here? Like, there's so many steals at the wide receiver position. Let's see here. Let's move that. Let's move that right there. It's fine. Okay. So now that I've locked down 2 running backs, to be honest, going for a 3rd running back isn't out of the question as of right now. With this specific, format, obviously this is a best ball, but in terms of just looking at the landscape and locking down an RB3, it's not a bad idea. You just have to choose wisely and make sure the guy is not injury prone. If you're going to invest, 3 back-to-back picks, you want to make sure it's a guy that's going to contribute on a weekly basis. Kerryon Johnson looks great. Melvin Gordon is falling in drafts, to be honest. At this point, I'm not opposed to taking Melvin Gordon. I think a deal will be done sooner rather than later. You know what's interesting? The other day when I made that video talking about like Zeke and his holdout and Melvin Gordon, I mentioned that there's a potential that the Houston Texans can go and make a play for Melvin Gordon. They cut Deontay Foreman yesterday, who many people thought would end, even I thought would be a pretty good contributor on that team, considering what Alfred Blue did last year as a part of the Texans offense. Alfred Blue, even in games in which Lamar Miller was healthy, saw about 8 to 10 offensive rushing attempts per game. So to be honest, a little bit surprising that they cut Deontay Foreman. All right, where am I? Am I coming up here? Man, it's been gone from me for a while. There goes the T.Y.s. There goes the Kerryon Johnson. But anyway, as I was mentioning, so now that Lamar Miller is really the only solidified running back there, I know they have younger guys that they've drafted, but I don't think any of them are going to be, taking Lamar Miller's job. Obviously, Lamar Miller goes up in rankings. I know a lot of you are opposed to drafting him. You think he's a complete garbage can. That's not the case. The dude's finished as an RB2 for the last 3 seasons, a part of the Texans offense. So even though he's a guy that a lot of people want to stay away from or avoid, he's got great value as of right now. But the reason I brought it up was because there is a chance that maybe the Texans make a play for good old Melvin Gordon and try to make that Super Bowl push. You never know. All right, let's see here. Okay, now that it's coming back around, let me go ahead and, the tight ends, the top 3 are gone. That is not a problem. I'm probably going to land with either, the Ebron, one of these top 6 guys that are still available soon enough, but not at the moment. Looking at the available wide receivers, I do like Adam Thielen as a pick here, potentially. Don't want to go for quarterbacks. Really, I'm probably going to try to, especially in a 1 quarterback league, 4 point per passing touchdown, I'm not going to draft a quarterback till the 8th or 9th round. And at that point, sure, I'll probably lock down a Jared Goff, Cam Newton combo, maybe Winston Murray. Just depends on what, and there goes a quarterback. It just depends what really falls to me. Looking at the available running backs, man, there's so much depth here. And I love literally all of these guys. There's not a single name here that I'm opposed to having on my team, perhaps Derrick Henry at the moment. But as of right now, I probably want to lock down a wide receiver. Because the draft will come back to me, I don't think all of these guys, all the running backs will be gone. So let's go ahead and lock down Adam Thielen as my wide receiver 1, a guy that I'm very fond of, and I think will continue to do great things in his next season here. There goes Melvin Gordon. Yep, could have definitely taken him. Only time will tell. Either way, I risked a lot just taking Gurley in the first pick. So if I was to lock down both LA backs, could have been a pretty good squad there, but no, it's not a big deal. We're going to go and try to balance this team out now that we have 2 RB1s, in my opinion. Could have had 3 RB1s, to be honest, but it's okay. I can live with the decision. There goes Derrick Henry. Man, I don't understand I don't get it. I don't think I'll ever understand. There's a specific infatuation with Derrick Henry that people have, that they 100% blindly believe that he's going to destroy the league. I mean, he was torching terrible defenses in the back end of the season. Like, when you run against the Jacksonville Jaguars and they've given up and they're a 3-12 team, of course you're going to run all over them. You're going to run for as many yards as possible. Just go look at Derrick Henry's rushing attempts per game against the Jaguars in his career. He's always been given a lot of opportunity because they want to bang that defense and just completely tire them out by the fourth quarter so he can make out some big runs. But I don't know. And then they played the Giants, not a great run-stopping team, especially in the back end of the year. The Redskins weren't great. He had about, a 10-point game against the Colts. Great. Doesn't really pop off for me. It's just 2 big games that a lot of people are excited about that I think it's fake. I really do. Fugazi. All right, let's see here. Coming back around to me, like I mentioned, I like some of these running backs that are available. I really like a lot of these guys, but I like David Montgomery. Doesn't get enough work in the passing game. Let's look at the available wide receivers. I don't understand why Brandon Cooks is. What the hell's wrong with him? Left Thursday's practice after his hamstring. That's not great. But to be honest, he's one of the most consistent wide receivers in the game right now. To be honest, I really do want to lock down a 3rd running back here. So Andrew's going to take David Montgomery and let it ride. I was about to say it's lagging. All right. Lock down my 3rd RB. Let me tell you about David Montgomery. I just talked about him the other day. Yeah, I literally made a video about rookie running backs. So I'm not going to bore you. Unless you haven't heard that, why don't you go check that video out. Let's see here. And while we're at it, if you're watching the content right now and you're listening to me, click that like button. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button. We're growing the channel little by little as we approach the season. Much appreciated to all you supporting out there. Looking at what is going off the board. Here comes a little bit of a wide receiver one. Not really too afraid of it considering what is available at the wide receiver position still. I'm just going to stock up on these guys that I think have a lot of upside. Chris Carson coming off the board. No big deal. Why are people skipping out on Edelman? This is what I don't understand. The guy just broke his thumb. That's not going to end your season. It's not like he has a hamstring injury. Hamstrings are literally the bane of the existence of the running back position. Hamstring injuries literally have just ended careers at some points. Like, do you guys remember Danny Woodhead? Danny Woodhead was a great contributor. I think he was even in a PPR, in a full PPR, a couple seasons back with the Chargers. He was a top 12 running back. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember this. He literally went over to the Ravens in one offseason. The guy had a hamstring injury that held him out for 4 months and ended his career in one fell swoop. Hamstring injuries, man, they're nothing to be trifled with too much. I mean, they're extremely sensitive there. Let's see here. Where are we picking? A couple more picks to go. No big deal. Looking at what's available, tight ends, Evan Ingram, who is by far and away my favorite of this group, considering Golden Tate will be out for the first 4 weeks of the season unless, that appeal comes through. And to be honest, without Odell Beckham in the lineup, Evan Ingram, fantasy-wise and statistically, has been just a better player, plain and simple, throughout his career. I think he's played 15 games without Odell. And in all of those, I mean, he's averaging double-digit fantasy points. So a guy like that, especially with the tight end landscape as of right now, there he goes. It's a good pick. I definitely would have considered going tight end there. But let's look at the wide receiver position. Looking at what's available, I like Tyler Boyd. I'm thinking, why the heck is everyone avoiding Tyler Boyd at this point? To be honest, looking at the available players, let's go ahead and look at the running backs. I'm not too excited about any of these guys. I think I do like the prospect of getting one of those receiving backs like Tariq Cohen on the thumbnail, but as of right now, we're going to lock down Tyler Boyd. He's going to be the number one wide receiver for this Bengals team for the first month of the season. And then going forward, as soon as AJ Green comes back, he should be back to normal. The interesting thing is, if you guys go look at the splits of Andy Dalton in September, he is a far superior quarterback than anywhere throughout the rest of the season. Throughout his career, in September, he's just far superior. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to get as much juice out of that system as possible, going towards Tyler Boyd as my wide receiver number 2 here. All right, so as of right now, probably I'm going to start ignoring not even ignoring wide receivers. Just depends what falls to me at this point. Don't want to reach for anybody because, like, looking at what's available, Allen Robinson, do you really want a Bears wide receiver as a guy on your team? Like, I don't trust that. I wouldn't mind going with Anthony Miller and having him being a bench stash and then him potentially becoming the wide receiver one of this team. But I don't want to invest in Allen Robinson. Really, he's had a couple of season-ending injuries. Last year, he dealt with injury for quite some time. I understand he produced well that one season, 1,400 yards with the Jaguars in garbage time with Bortles. But since then, man, just really hasn't been too great of a wide receiver. So, like, that kind of guy, not really interested. Robbie Anderson, very volatile. Christian Kirk, I mean, they just brought in Michael Crabtree. So what is Christian Kirk anymore, right? Alshon Jeffrey is a guy that 100%, he's going to be in our wide receiver 2 this season. It's going to happen. He's going to surprise everyone. And then by the end of the year, you're going to think, what the hell happened? Why is Alshon Jeffrey scoring so much? It's because of the combination with Carson Wentz. When he plays with Carson Wentz, I think he gets, I think the split was, gosh, I wish I 100% remembered it. I think his target share raised like 7% in comparison without Carson Wentz in the lineup. Looking at the available running backs, I'm not opposed to that, but to be honest, I'm going to probably lock down another running back here. Actually, you know what? No. What is the tight end looking like? Before they start coming off the board, Andrew's going to jump at the idea of Hunter Henry right now. I'll explain Hunter Henry in a while. Okay, but let me explain what was I on about? Goodness, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah, with Carson Wentz and then with Nick Foles, he's far superior when it comes to the target share and his fantasy production with Carson Wentz. So as long as Wentz can stay healthy, Alshon Jeffrey, I mean, I don't mind him being the wide receiver 3 on this team. Now, when we talk about a full PPR format, I understand. Alshon Jeffrey has had his struggles with his receiving or his reception percentage throughout his career, or I think his average was like 60 some odd percent. Last year was better. He increased it to like a 70% catch rate. So all in all, some improvements there. Gosh, I can't believe people are taking Allen Robinson. It's confusing. All right, let's see here. Considering in this kind of let me see here. Where's my team? I got to scroll a little bit. So considering I can only start 2 running backs at the starting, I mean, this is a best ball technically. So that's why I didn't go running back after the 3 that I grabbed. That's why I went with tight end, just to go ahead and lock down a guy that I like specifically. Also, when it comes to these kind of drafts, I kind of want to have a wide variety of players, just so I don't get burnt in all of my leagues. If I keep drafting, Vance McDonald in every league, he tears his ACL week 1, then all my leagues are screwed, right? So you kind of want a little bit of a diversity in your rosters, especially if you're playing in multiple leagues, specifically on this kind of a website. So you want a little bit of diversity in that kind of a range. There goes Alshon. which is not too much of a surprise. What am I picking? I'm a little far away. Jarvis Landry, Dante Pettis, these are two guys that I would love to fall to me at this point right here. Again, I'm not taking a quarterback till about the 8th, 9th round. Looking at what's available, look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm not concerned whatsoever. Guys like Jared Goff and Russell Wilson, if I can combo them right there, perfect for a best ball. Christian Kirk coming off the board before Jarvis Landry is some of the most disgusting things I don't understand. What is happening in the... Okay, let me just... I got to vent a little bit here. Jarvis Landry, have we all forgotten the guy has made the Pro Bowl for 4 consecutive seasons? Okay, sure, last season was a mess. He had to play on the outside. He had to play with Tyrod Taylor for a couple weeks. He had to deal with the inconsistency of Baker Mayfield at times. Yes, I understand. At the back end of the season, Baker Mayfield was great. Perfect. That's perfectly fine. There goes Jarvis. All right, I'm done talking about him. I'm pissed. I'm tilted a little bit, but it's okay. All right, so looking at what's available. Darrell Henderson's coming around the board. I probably would grab him a little bit later on. I don't really think Darrell Henderson's going to make that big of a difference. I think Rashad Penny will probably get more work with the Seahawks, considering their entire scheme. So I don't mind taking Penny at this point to have him as another running back option here. Okay, looking at what else is available. Let's look at the wide receiver position. Sammy Watkins, injury. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, great, but, is Geronimo Allison's already off the board. I specifically prefer Geronimo considering he's going to be playing in the slot position. Looking at all of these players, I kind of want another good running back so I don't have to worry later on. So let's take Penny here. I think Penny's going to honestly absorb all of the work that Mike Davis is leaving behind, which is 150 touches, 40 targets. I think with Penny, there's a lot of potential. The guy is a great running back. Sure, he got the short end of the stick last season, but he should be fine. Penny slimmed down to 230. What do you mean he slimmed down to 230? 230 is thick for a running back? God damn. All right, they're doing it there. They're doing it live. Is this guy auto-picked? Yeah, it's fine. Okay, no big deal. Already got my tight end. Tight ends are starting to a little bit come off the board. No big deal. So looking at what round are we in? Yeah, we're not even close to the quarterback round. I don't mind taking Valdes-Scantling here, to be honest. I think that he had a little stint in the season where I think as soon as Geronimo Allison last year went down around week 5, 6, Marquez Valdes-Scantling for that 5 weeks on, I think he produced about 10 fantasy points per week. So he's pretty good in that kind of a range. And then at the back end of the season, he turned into a rookie wide receiver. And like I mentioned in my rookie wide receiver video yesterday, you can't trust rookie wide receivers. But as a second-year guy, more experience, more rapport with the offense, with Aaron Rodgers, I think there's a potential breakout scenario that could happen with Marquez Valdes-Scantling as the number 2 wide receiver there. You got Devontae on one side, Geronimo in the slot, MVS on the other side. I think this offense, they should be great this year. And then looking at the other receiving options, like Curtis Samuel is great for a best ball. A lot of boom or bust plays right there. So is Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is capable of, being that red zone threat that he's been known to be in the past. Even last season, prior to his injury, was a decent wide receiver. Sammy Watkins is just a question mark, man. I worry about his health. There goes MVS. There goes Darrell Henderson. No big deal. I think this draft is slowing down a little bit. People are starting to really think about these picks. But if you had my 2019 fantasy football draft guide, well, you'd be able to figure out from my rankings who to take next. Obviously, for me, it's all in here because there's too much in there. I'm almost overflowing at times with all this knowledge. I'm cursed with knowledge. If you guys remember from the Gauntlet video, I am cursed with knowledge. Should I roll over and grab the Gauntlet? I don't think it's time yet. When the season starts rolling around, maybe we'll roll over and grab the Gauntlet. Okay. The 3 guys that I considered, all 3 wide receivers, they're gone here. I do like Larry Fitzgerald a lot more than a lot of other people. Taking Curtis Samuel in the okay, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's take Curtis Samuel here as my number 3 wide receiver. I'm still going to lock down Larry Fitz. In his best ball kind of a format, it should be fine. If it's not a best ball, I'm probably not taking Curtis Samuel here. I'm probably going with a quarterback. To be honest, I probably would have taken a guy like Matt Ryan, to be honest. But because it's a best ball, we'll kind of adjust here and see accordingly. But yeah, Larry Fitzgerald, let's be honest, he's going to be the security blanket of Kyler Murray in his rookie season. He was last year to Josh Rosen. He's been for Carson Palmer in the past, for Kurt Warner. I mean, literally, this guy is a legend. He is a living legend, and I don't know why everyone every season during the offseason assumes, oh, this is his down year. This is what gives you that notion? I don't understand that. Larry Fitzgerald, even with a terrible season last year, with a very low reception percentage because of the terrible accuracy of Josh Rosen, was still a decent wide receiver. Yep, now that we add a good quarterback into this offense, there goes Larry. God, I keep talking about players, and then they come off the board. Kiki Cutie's not. I mean, look, this is the volatile range. This is the volatile range where everyone is just boom or bust. All right, looking at what else is available. Let's see, is there any other running backs I'm interested in? I'm interested in LaShawn McCoy. I think a lot of people have just completely shut their eyes and closed their ears with LaShawn McCoy. He has a potential to get some stuff done here in 2019. I understand that is a true RBBC in that backfield, but he still has potential to get it done. Let's go ahead. What else is coming off the board? Really, Mark Andrews? I don't, man. You know, anything attached to Lamar Jackson receiving-wise, not great. Mark Andrews may be the best option, even though, like, in the last 7 games of the regular season, Mark Andrews was getting about 3 targets a game. I don't know how that can be sustainable, especially at the tight end position. Sure, he had a couple games in which he scored 70-yard touchdowns, 40-yard touchdowns on one reception, and you know, can we trust that? I personally don't believe so. That offense, I mean, you already have Hayden Hurst there. There's going to be a lot of tight ends that are working in this offense and getting receptions. I just don't want to trust that at the point. Looking at what else is coming off the board. For the running back position, everything that I kind of was interested in is pretty much gone here. I'd rather go for guys like Breida and Ito Smith later on in my draft instead of a Kalen Ballage and this kind of a mess. So let's go ahead. Let's work for another wide receiver here. We are in the 9th round, so let me go ahead and check these wide receiver or quarterbacks. Yeah, the quarterbacks are looking good. Let's go ahead and take Matt Ryan. At the 9th round, I think this is a steal of a pick. And then we'll go ahead and we'll look to grab a wide receiver on the turnaround here. Let's see. Jackson, not bad. I think Dante Moncrief is the way to go here. I think he'll end up being the number 2. Let's see. Moncrief suffered a finger injury. Not a big deal. Why do they even have to say questionable? The guy's going to be perfectly fine. Finger injuries, they happen all the time. You jam your finger trying to catch a ball. It's not a big deal. So I expect him to be the number 2 wide receiver there. And that's not saying a lot. I don't think he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. But if he ends up with 700, 800 receiving yards, a handful of touchdowns, I think that's a pretty good, use of Dante Moncrief in a Steelers offense. Let's see what else we got here. Do I want to go for a second tight end in this kind of a format? There goes Ebron. No, I don't want to. Probably my second tight end will end up being a guy like Jack Doyle, just for safety purposes. In an offense that loves to use the tight end position, I'm not opposed to that. These running backs aren't coming off the board, so that's kind of leaving everybody to wait on them. Let's see. Oh, actually, let's remove that. So what's up, guys? If you've stayed this long, you're watching the video, you're chilling, go down to the comment section, say what's up, hit that like button. Go watch one of my other videos. Maybe split screen this thing while I'm waiting for other people to pick. Let's see here. Let's scroll down. I kind of want to see what other... Like, Emmanuel Sanders should be just fine. What does it say about him? Chemistry, builds, Achilles, core. Yeah, I saw him running full speed and making some disgusting cuts the other day. Yet, people sleep on Emmanuel Sanders. I understand he's 31 years old coming off an Achilles injury, but he is far more... healthier than his counterpart Demaryius Thomas, who also 31 years old with a Achilles injury. Okay, DK Metcalf really came off the board before Moncrief. That's interesting. Let's see here. We'll take Moncrief there. Coming back around, we'll look for probably. I'm just gonna stack wide receivers and running backs. That's how this works. When you play in a 1 quarterback league. At very most, you should have 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks. Other than that, The rest of your 16 to 18 man roster should be wide receivers and running backs, plain and simple, whether that's handcuffs or whether that's guys that could potentially break out with, like, let's see. Let's go to the wide receiver position and let me scroll on this thing. Like, why not take a risk on Albert Wilson? When Ryan Fitzmagic starts for the first month of the season, there's a possibility that he just starts chucking bombs to all of the wide receivers, and they go, I think if I'm not mistaken, my schedule's over there. If I'm not mistaken, 4 out of the first 5 games for the Miami Dolphins in September are home games. Just wait till teams have to go down there and play in the heat. Ryan Fitzmagic's going to get some done. I'm not kidding. He's been playing in Florida for 2 years now, so he's going to have some potential to scorch some teams. If in week 1 he ends up scorching the Ravens defense, I'm not going to be surprised. Not one bit. Let's see what else is available. Moving off the board, Lamar Jackson's coming off. The Goffs are coming off. All right. The running backs are moving. So looking at the running back position, I really want Matt Breida and I really want Ito Smith. The combination of the two should be great. I think in a Kyle Shanahan offense where they use multiple running backs and Jerick McKinnon just being beat up this offseason, I think Breida's going to have another great season similar to last year. As long as he stays healthy. Even if he doesn't, he's still a great pick here and there, as long as he doesn't leave the games in the first half like last season. So do I want to reach here? Let me see. Let me look at the wide receiver position. There's nothing here that I'm like too excited about. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take Matt Breida because I'm going to shoot my shot, and I prefer him over these other guys far and away. And then I want Ito Smith as well because I'm not kidding. I think they're going to turn Ito Smith into Tevin Coleman, in the idea that he could end up being a running back, or RB3, just off of his opportunity, because they want to keep Devontae Freeman healthy in an offense that's going to run the ball more and has the opportunity to target running backs, 100 plus times. Ito Smith could end up being, a good contributor in that sense. Let's see what else we got here. What is the second quarterback that I want? I'm looking at what's available. I kind of waited a little bit for my second quarterback. I probably want to lock down 3 in this specific format. I don't mind going Rivers, Josh Allen as a guy that's going to run all over the field and have some big games and some bust games. Not a big deal because there's only one starting quarterback in this league, and it takes the best or the highest scoring player at the position for best ball. So Josh Allen, not a bad grab there. Don't really want to deal with any. I love Stafford more than probably anybody right now, so I don't mind grabbing a Stafford later on with a combination with Allen or Rivers or Cousins. That's not bad. Looking at the tight end position are the guys that I'm still interested. Yep, Jack Doyle. What's wrong with Jack Doyle? Let's see here. Minor oblique injury. Yeah, the oblique. All right, no big deal. He'll be fine. Jordan Reed. That's another guy that, if he can stay healthy in an offense like that, could end up putting up some good numbers. Okay, so looking at what's available, considering what I have, let me go ahead. Let me click on my team here. I've got myself a pretty penny of running backs. Even though I really want Ito Smith here, I think I need to lock down the quarterback. So let's go ahead and take Josh Allen here. Let's let him run all over teams for me. Kyle Rudolph coming off the board, not a big deal. So yeah, I'll probably try to look. Let me queue up, try to grab Stafford as my QB3. Generally, especially in 2 QB leagues, I've looked and tried to grab Stafford as much as I possibly can. I think that offense is going to be fantastic. A great pass blocking offensive line. Kerryon Johnson coming back healthy with no theoretic insight. Yes, you have CJ Anderson for a couple plug-in yards here and there, but you still have the help of Marvin Jones, Kenny Golladay. You added Danny Amendola to play the slot position that's going to fill in for what Golden Tate pretty much produced. You brought in TJ Hawkinson to be a red zone threat. The defense is looking better and better with Matt Patricia kind of leading that group. Their defensive line looks nasty. So they're going to get after it this year. And I think Matthew Stafford is going to surprise a lot of people. Everyone's assuming he's outside of the top 20 quarterbacks. I don't think that's the case. I think he's a far better quarterback than that. Sure, his top 10 days may be over, but I think he's just disgustingly underrated as of right now. Let's see here. Devin Funches, Jordan Reed coming off the board. Guys are dealing. I mean, like, why would you draft Derek Carr? Maybe you have, like, looking at what's available at the quarterback position, why would you go with Derek Carr? I just, it's interesting. Over Brady in a best ball, I think Brady has a likelihood of throwing 3 touchdowns more often than, Justice Hill coming off the board. Ito's still there. How many running backs do I actually have? Andrew has 5 running backs. How many rounds are in this? I believe it's 18. So from here on out, if I go ahead, I can live with probably, that's not going to hurt me too much. Not too much. So I could probably go, 7, 8 wide receivers, 6 running backs. Let's see. Do I want to grab my own Joe Mixon Bernard did not practice hamstring? Yeah, that's not a good. Oh, there goes Stafford. Of course. When Andrew needs Matthew Stafford to come back as his 3rd quarterback, how about no? All right, looking at what's available at the quarterback position, yikes. It's really not looking great, to be honest. These guys are they're a dime a dozen. They're 10-cent hamburgers. I mean, Marcus Mariota potentially has a chance of being, a couple big weeks that he's done in the past. Somehow he beat the Patriots last year during the regular season. He threw 3 touchdowns that game. So, and there goes Ito. All right, let's look at the wide receiver position, considering I haven't really built too much depth here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take advantage of that right now. Probably go ahead and grab a guy like, let's see. Okay, that's not a big deal. I'm a fan of Manuel Sanders. I'm going to take Sanders here. No big deal. People are concerned. I have no concern of the sort. Let's see what else we got. Looking at the wide receiver position at this point, Mohamed Sanu's not bad. He has, his couple big games of 16, 15 fantasy points throughout the season. Could work in here and there. Jamison Crowder I like. Josh Gordon could be reestablished or reinstated per se. And then everybody else is just a bunch of toss-ups on whether they end up producing or not and staying healthy accordingly. Let's go ahead and scroll up here. Quarterbacks are coming off the board. I'm not too happy with, it's taking a Sam Darnold there. So I'll probably end up with a Mariota or a Nick Foles and just have to deal with it. It's not really a big deal considering I don't even need to go for a second quarterback. My 3rd quarterback. But I'm just going to grab one just in case somebody gets injured. Every year injuries hit. So you always have to prepare. You always have to build your team around acquiring enough depth in order to make sure that your injuries are not going to kill you. Last season, in my home league, I literally had, I think, 10 season-ending injuries throughout the entire season on just my team. So, and then I had a couple people get benched, like Bortles got benched in a 2 QB league. It's a long story. If you've been around for a while, then you've heard me complain about it. Let's look at the tight end position, considering they're all disappearing quickly. To be honest, I'd rather go with Hawkinson and Fant as or Darren Waller. It's a sleeper right there, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at what we have at wide receiver, Andrew is running out of time. So what he's going to do is he's going to take Crowder here. Okay, or I won't. Or I would literally click whatever. John Brown's going to have to work. It's fine. Maybe John Brown wants to catch a 40-yard touchdown. I literally clicked lock in. And rest in peace. Okay. Is there any other running backs that look sort of interesting here? Darwin Thompson, potentially. What else we got? Yeah, no, all in all, there's just, these are handcuffs. This is the handcuff territory. These are the guys that you don't technically want, but you don't mind having until they serve no purpose. Okay. Let's go ahead. We need to lock down another tight end, to be honest. So I'll probably grab Hawkinson and then, I actually really like Darren Waller. Darren Waller, for those of you who don't know, is a wide receiver converted tight end for the Oakland Raiders. Now, he did play wide receiver last season because Jared Cook was dominating all the tight end snaps as the receiving option there. But now that Jared Cook is gone, he's gone over to the New Orleans Saints, the idea of Darren Waller stepping in as a safety blanket for Derek Carr, who loved using the tight end position, who targeted and Jared Cook more than anybody last year, there is a potential for this guy to bulk up and end up being a pretty good contributor at the tight end position. To be honest, let's just go ahead. Let's do this, and let's put Fant up here also. How many more picks we have? Yeah, we have like 4 more picks. So I'm probably going to stick with 2 quarterbacks unless, maybe my last round one of these guys are available. We'll see. Running backs, I need another one. And potentially, what is wrong with Duke Johnson here? Hamstring, isn't participating in practice Friday. Not too concerned. I think he'll be ready for week 1. But do I want to handcuff somebody else's running back? Chase Edmonds, Gio Bernard? Nah, not really interested in that. I'd rather have Duke Johnson at this point. Or Chris Thompson, actually. Chris Thompson won't be that bad, actually. But the offense in itself for the Redskins is going to be a little bit hit or miss probably this season, considering they have a 3-way competition for the starting quarterback job between Keenum, Haskins, and I think McCoy. I think it's McCoy. So we'll see how that ends up. That's going to be a mess. And I love how Alfred Morris is somehow moving his way up these rankings, man. Gosh. Nobody touch Alfred Morris this season. Please. Don't do that to yourself. Do not subject yourself to the just meh of what, literally that sound, meh, of which Alfred Morris is going to bring to your team. Even if he ends up being the starting running back of the Dallas Cowboys because Zeke wants to hold out and not show up, I don't care. I don't want to touch him. I don't want to. There's just he's not a good running back. He's not anymore. Great. He had a fantastic rookie season, over 1,400 rushing yards with Robert Griffin. They tore apart the NFC East. Fantastic. Since then, all downhill. All of it. All right, let me look at the running backs. I'll take Duke Johnson. Okay. I didn't start Gesicki. I don't want Mike Gesicki. Please, get the heck out of here. What I wanted was Darren Waller. Thank you very much. So, probably lock both these guys down. Actually, not both. Let me think. Is Fant going to get enough opportunity in an offense that doesn't move the ball? And same thing with these Oakland tight ends. We'll see. Only time will tell. Wide receiver position. Any big play guys that I'm interested in? David Moore? Yes. Don't mind. Scrolling down the list. Everybody else is just Travis Benjamin. Another guy that could end up being a pretty decent producer considering Tyrell Williams is gone now. Darius, Jamal Williams. What's wrong with you, Jamal? Hamstring, didn't practice. What? Man, these hamstring injuries are ridiculous. All right, I'm probably taking a quarterback here, by the way. So if, in fact, Mariota's available, I'm just going to grab him, and we'll see how this goes. We're just going to hope for the best for Mariota. There goes David Moore. Interesting enough. Let's grab Mariota. Lock down my third quarterback. Oh, my goodness. What else we got here? How many more picks? 2 more, probably? Let's see. Scroll this thing over. I got 1 there, and then I got 1 there. Yep, 2 more picks. So, did my tight ends go? The tight ends that I wanted, both Waller and Fant. I'm going to assume that they did because that's how this works. Anything that Andrew is interested in, there's Waller and there's Fant. So be it. Andrew's got to find a new tight end stud to go after. It's going to be Tyler Eifert. And then probably after Eifert, probably Lacoste. But to be honest, I'm just going to go with 2 tight ends in this format. I have Hunter Henry that is going to produce every week, so I don't really have to invest too much in the tight end position. The only reason I invested so much at the quarterback's position with extra guys is just in case for injury purposes. I don't think Hunter Henry, after an ACL season, is going to come back and tear his ACL again. If that happens, then so be it. The luck will just... I'm willing to ride or die with his health in the future. Let's see, what else we got here? Ryan Fitzpatrick coming. There's Eifert. Damn it. What are we doing every time? Andrew, you want a tight end? Nope. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to have a tight end right now. Alrighty. Let's see here. Yeah, we're set on the wide receiver and running back depth. Unless we want a couple flyers here and there. I'm not even drafting. I'm going to draft a tight end with my last pick. I'm not even wasting it right here. Let's grab a wide receiver. Specifically, when do I pick? How many picks away am I before I name the guy and he gets taken right in front of me? All right, great. John Ross could have been good, but to be honest, I think his career's going to be done soon, whether they trade him or not. I mean, they're probably going to use him because they want to kind of run a Rams-style offense because the offensive coordinator or the new head coach being the quarterback coach of the Rams from last season. So they're probably going to try to emulate a similar scheme to what Sean McVay is producing there. So that's not bad in itself. Man, I don't like any of these wide receivers. These are just there's nothing exciting about these guys. Obviously, we got a couple rookies, Keyshawn Johnson. They just come off the board. God, man, what is happening? Everybody is just disappearing as I call them out. It's beautiful. I didn't know I had this kind of a power, guys. I really didn't. It's something that you don't figure out in life until you end up recording yourself doing a live draft and then realize, wow, you actually have the ability to influence a lot of decision making. And then you got to think to yourself, well, with great power comes great responsibility. And then you've got to take your time. You got to do the research, make educated guesses and make some good opinionated arguments for it. And bada boom, make plays. All right. What is Trey Quinn? I've heard so much. Reiterated Sunday, Quinn locked in for slot work. Okay, whatever that means. Like, who's going to want the slot work of a Washington Redskins wide receiver? Like, are we serious? Come on. What are we doing? Running backs. Darwin Thompson, Gus Edwards, running a wide receiver. Who do I have at wide receiver? I'm just curious. I'm on the clock, I know. Okay, Thielen, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. For right now, Andrew's going to hope for the deep play here with Darwin Thompson. Maybe Frank Gore wants to get Frank Gore. Carlos Hyde wants to get her every time. It's 100% that I call him Frank Gore. Maybe Damian Williams and Carlos Hyde want to get injured really quickly and make my season with Darwin Thompson winning me this $3 league. Feels good. I'm going to take Jason Witten. I'm not even joking. You know what? Let me think, actually. Will Disley's not terrible. He's coming back, and I think there's a chance that he can do something for that team. That's the question. Is it possible that Will Disley ends up being the starter over Vanette and Dixon? That's a good question. To be honest, I'll probably just go with Lacoste as I usually do because I'm on the Lacoste train. Big tight end that's going to catch passes over the middle. Not as good as Gronk, but they're going to have to make it work. That's pretty much the deal. Or do I go with 40-year-old man coming out of ESPN, booth? That's the question. I'll probably just go with Lacoste for the upside and just hope that Hunter Henry carries every week. All right, let's go. Pick Lacoste right in front of me. Do it. All right, cool. Thank you very much. All right, and that's the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let's go ahead and let this timer run out. Okay, let's go ahead and check out Andrew's squad really quickly. All right, obviously the squad is made up of the top three running backs. It's literally going to be surrounded around them. The idea of running a Gurley, Mixon, Montgomery, Penny, Breida comp is just 100% on the running back. But then again, this is a best ball, so we'll see who ends up putting up the best weeks. But at the wide receiver position, probably could have snagged a better wide receiver 3, but I'm not opposed to going with the Curtis Samuel, Dante Moncrief as my wide receiver 3. Tyler Boyd should be great. Adam Thielen should be great. Tight end, I locked down a top 10, which is, actually probably a top 8 or 9 in my opinion. As of right now in half PPR, could be better potentially. And then just grab some depth here and there at the following positions. Not too bad. All right, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you haven't already, click that like button. And until later today, I think I'll have another video. But until then, see you guys. Peace. Click some buttons. Jeez.